is the review for the proportional topic test. So I have all of the questions on this paper, and I'm just going to work all of these problems. So the first one says, write an equation for a line with a slope of 6 and initial value of 3. Sorry, my thing was all crooked. Write the equation in the form y equals mx plus b. So remember, when we have, and I'm going to do this in a couple of different colors so that we can see all of it. So when we have y equals mx plus, let's do light blue, sorry. We'll do plus b. Remember, when you have this form, the rate or the slope is always the m. So this is our rate slash slope. And then the b is your y-intercept or your initial value. Okay, so when you write an equation for a line with a slope of 6, so slope, and I'm underlining it in pink on purpose, so a slope of 6 and an initial value, so notice I did pink for slope and I'm going to do blue for initial value. Remember, the slope or the rate is always with x. So when you write your equation in that form, y equals m, in this case, is 6. So the number for the rate or the slope goes in front of x. And then you're going to put plus the b value, which is 3. So that's it. That is our equation. Once you know the slope and the initial value or the y-intercept, then you are done writing your equation, or it's already pretty much giving you your equation. All right, now let's write an equation. Let's do number 2, write an equation for a line with a slope of 2/3, which is 2/3, and an initial value of -4. I'm going to use the same color again, so if you're using colors, you can use the same color. So slope or rate of change is going to be 2/3. The initial value is -4. So it would be y equals, the slope is 2/3 x, and then plus -4. Now, in order to simplify these, we don't ever leave them written as a plus and negative. So we would write it as y equals 2/3, sorry, I know it's probably loud me picking up and putting down my pens, x, and then instead of putting plus a negative, that's the same thing as just saying subtract by 4. So really, this plus sign is a plus or minus based on what the initial value is. So if your initial value is -4, then you're going to put -4 at the end. So this would be our equation. Okay, let's do this one. So now we're going to work the opposite way. So we're going to find the slope. So the number in front of x is your slope or rate, and then the number adding or subtracting at the end is your initial value. So our slope in this case is the number in front of x, which is 5, and our initial value is the number adding or subtracting at the end, which is 11. Okay, number 4, the number in front of x is your slope. The number adding or subtracting at the end is your initial value. So then it would be, our slope would be -5, over 7. Think about if you're having to graph that, that's the rise over run. Okay, but the answer is this. Okay, and then the initial value is 2. And it would be positive 2 because it's a plus sign. Okay, this next one, this is where they start getting a little bit harder. Notice it's still the same thing. Y equals mx plus b. We're finding the slope, we're finding the y-intercept, and then we're going to write the equation. But now we're starting with a graph. I know that this graph is kind of hard to see, so we're going to do the best we can. So I personally like finding the y-intercept or initial value first because that's where it's starting at. So if you look along your y-axis, your y-intercept is where the line crosses the y-axis. So it would be this point right here. And so it's really blurry, so I'm going to count 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So our y-intercept is just 5. It's where it crosses the y-axis. Okay, you cannot write your equation until you have both your m and your b. So then now let's find the slope. And again, I know that this is pretty small. So this one, the points are marked for us. In a lot of cases, the points are not marked. So just keep in mind for the topic test, you want to look where the line is crossing at one of those grids. So we're going to mark this point right here. And then we're going to count from our first point to our next point. So if I count 1, 2, 3, remember it's rise over run or change of y over change of x. So it's 1, 2, 3, and then it's over 1. So it went from 5, 6, 7, 8, which is up 3, and then from 0 to 1, which is a change of 1. So our slope would be 3 over 1, which is just 3. Okay, let's write our equation. Y equals, what's the slope? 3 x and then plus 5. Okay, so that is our equation. Now we're going to go the opposite way. Now I'm going to give you the equation and you have to graph it. So again, let's figure out what these two things are. So that is our slope. Sorry, it got stuck to my wrist, or to my watch. And then the 4 is the y-intercept, or initial value. So I always start with the initial value because this just tells you how much to go up or down from each point. So let's start with our y-intercept of 4. So our y-intercept would be 4. That says Ghent, but that's y-intercept just shortened. Okay? Now, our slope is a fraction, so -1/3. So remember, it's change of y over change of x, or you could do it as rise over run, or for my class, I've been saying y's over run. Okay? So then we're going to go from this point, and we're going to go down 1, because instead of rising, it's a negative. So instead of going up, you're going to go down. And then you're going to go over 3. So 1, 2, 3. Down 1, over 1, 2, 3. Down 1, over 1, 2, 3. So down 1, over 3. And that would be our line. Okay, so there is the review.